know, it's one of those days makes you feel glad to have a nice warm shop to work in.
Yes, it is.
That cold front came through, wind been whooping, it's been a little raw out there. Anyway, before we get to our next project, we got a little bit of servicing to do. First my 1500, then a sprayer. You know the thing I love about servicing this 1500? I don't need ramps or a pit to do it in. All right, Andy, hand me a bucket. What do you say the downside to having a lift kit on the truck was, though?
You got to get a ladder to fill it back up.
Yeah.
Which it's a lot easier to work like this than the truck on top.
Yeah, I'd rather get a ladder than have to jack something up. Yeah. Anyway, before we get our next project in here, like I said, we're doing some servicing. That took about 10 minutes. It's going to take a little while longer. We finally got our sprayer back from John Deere. Had a bunch of stuff done to it. Big reason we went over to John Deere is, if you remember last spring, rear main seal on the engine was leaking. Sent it over there, they replaced the seal. Well, that seal didn't last very long. It wasn't gushing oil, but it was seeping pretty steady stream. So while the repair was still under warranty, wanted to go ahead and get that taken care of. And then there was also some other odds and ends at the time we just didn't have time to do. We had several hoses. I think we had total like 6 hoses that was, the rubber was starting to come off of it and show the metal. They hadn't failed yet, but there was a good chance they would have failed this year. And y'all all know exactly where they fail. They usually fail on the road, one of the worst places to do. So they was going to have to be replaced, and these things are a pain in the butt to replace, to route them and get all our brackets and everything lined back up. So while I was over there, just had them do that. And this year, instead of pulling the engine to replace the seal, they actually pulled the cab off to replace the seal. They said it's about the same amount of work. Anyway, there's a few hydraulic hoses right up under the cab that's almost impossible to get to from the ground. Went ahead and replaced them. We had a couple leaks up there on the hydrostat, some seals that we replaced last year, but for whatever reason, they just didn't take, so had John Deere replace them this time. We had some wiring issues on the boom track, got that taken care of, and then leveling cylinder right up there. We had that resealed twice last year, and the second time, More Pumps told me the cylinder bore is pretty much shot. If it leaks again, you pretty much need to have the cylinder replaced. So we had the cylinder replaced. I think there's a couple other odds and ends, but anyway, this thing should be in tip-top shape once we get it serviced. Should be ready for a full season spraying. We get done with the other projects, we might pull it back in here, and there's some rust issues I'd like to take care of if we have the time. That's the thing on these sprayers, with the corrosive chemicals we're putting out, the liquid fertilizer we're putting out, the key is try and catch rust right there on the beginning and nip it in the bud rather than letting it progress, because once it progresses a whole lot, there really ain't that much fixing unless you just completely strip everything off the frame, sandblast it, and give it a good coat of paint. I tell you what though, you think, that sprayer brand new was probably at the time, probably $400,000. You think for $400,000, they could have put a decent quality paint on there, but we've been down that road a couple years ago. I talked all about my thoughts on the paint quality of John Deere. Well, heck, pretty much any of the manufacturers, the paint quality just absolutely sucks. Yeah, one other thing before we move on to the next project. Here's the filters that we need to service the sprayer, and this doesn't even include the engine oil filter that was changed whenever they replaced the engine seal. I'm gonna take a guess at what these 7 John Deere filters cost total. $1,055. If y'all got a cheaper source of filters, let me know in the comments, because I priced Napa, and Napa couldn't even do these filters for that cheap. I've heard some guys doing Fleet Guards. Where exactly do you get your Fleet Guard filters from? Is someplace online where I can cross-reference some numbers and get these filters a lot cheaper? Because with the state of the ag economy, I can't spend $1,000 on filters for one machine. And All these are a metal canister with some paper inside. I mean, they're not, there's nothing to them. I don't understand the cost other than they can. So anyway, if y'all mind, help me out. Let me know in the comments, where do y'all get your filters at that's a whole lot more reasonable than OEM. All right, we just got done finishing the sprayer. And I know I just complained about how freaking expensive these filters were. Well, I found something out. And again, making profit this year is going to come down to the details. These 4 filters I don't need. These 3 right here are spin-ons that I replace every year just because I've always been taught that you replace your filters at least annually. But checking the service interval on the hydraulic filters, John Deere says every 1,000 hours. Well, we put about 485 hours on that sprayer last year. We changed the filters last year, so we got another year's worth of running on these expensive hydraulic filters. And then this other one right here, I just called John Deere and told the parts guy, hey, I need all the hydraulic filters for R4038. One of them is this filter right here. And you see, it's not a paper element, it's just a wire mesh, and it goes inside the hydraulic tank. Well, this filter right here was $300 out of that $1,055. I mean, if I had to service that filter, all I do be, you know, flush it out with some, you know, parts cleaner or something, dry it out and put it back in, it'd be good to go. There's no paper element on there, so that sucker is most definitely going back too. So realistically, all I needed was 2 fuel filter elements totaling about $270 because they replaced the oil filter element when they pulled the engine and changed the oil. So just like that, there's another $700. You know, for us, that's about 50 cents an acre that we're saving just on filters and just paying attention to that one small detail. And you know, we're going to turn a profit this year. That's what I want to do each and every day, not let any pennies fall through the crack. So anyway, now we got that done, on to our big project for this video. Alright guys, if you're new to our channel, you might not really know what this implement is. If you've been watching us for a while, you exactly know what it is. But anyway, this is our I&J 20-foot roller crimper. This is what we use to roll down and crimp the cover crops in front of mostly planting cotton. And anyway, we bought this thing brand new in 2015, and it's been over a lot of acres, and it's time to give it some maintenance. If you watched our cotton planting last year, you'll recall me saying that the crimper just wasn't laying down and crimping the cover crop very good, at least not like it had in the past, and that can be due to several different things. If you don't have a good stand of cover crop thick enough, roller crimper's not going to do that good of a job. If the cover crop's not mature enough, roller crimper's not going to do a good job. But also, if these chevron blades start getting a little rounded off, like it is right here, it's also not going to do a good job. So that's what we're going to do. We got new blades ordered that I believe we can just bolt up to the existing holes right here. They're going to stick up a little bit above the other one, and they're going to be nice and square, and that sharp edge is what really does the crimping. When it's kind of rounded like it is right now, I mean, it'll crush the stem some, but it doesn't crimp it very good, and the cover crop has a tendency to spring right back up. It still does a good job, but we want all the cover crop laying flat on the ground because that's really what we depend on for a lot of our weed control, especially Palmer amaranth. And if the cover crop's standing up or kind of leaning a 45-degree angle, a lot more sunlight can infiltrate down through there, reach the soil surface, which leads to a lot of these weeds germinating. But if it's flat on the ground, you're blocking a lot more of that sunlight from hitting the ground. So I'm hoping new blades are going to be the ticket on getting this thing performing just like it did when we bought it. Because when I tell you what, when it was brand new and we rolled cover crop, it looked almost like a golf course out through there, just nice and flat and beautiful and everything. And I'm hoping that new blades will make this thing perform like new again. So Andy we got options on how to do this. Do we want to replace the blades first with them still on there? That would make replacing the blades a little bit easier, but I also want to drop the drums and replace all the bearings, because I know the bearings are getting dry and probably about to go out, but a good chance we might have to order the bearings. So while it might be a little bit easier to replace the blades while it's still on there, I think in the interest of time, so we can get it done as quickly as possible, we'll go ahead and drop all the drums, get the bearings pulled off, get them picked up and ordered, and be putting blades on while the drums are off.
It'd be fine. Still rollable. I don't know about the front one, but the back ones at least.
Well, I tell you what, let's put the thing in float. Just let it rest lightly on the ground. I mean, all we got is 4 bolts to pull on each end, and the drums come right out, and we'll get the frame out of the way, and then we just got to mess with the drums. All right. Let's try. All right, we got all the bolts out. Now we're gonna get the frame off the rollers. I forgot they sit in these slots, so we're going to have to roll them off the frame here. Oh. Come on. There we go. Oh, a little more. Yeah. Up. All right, down. That way they ought to be right in place where they should be when we get done. Oh, I'm going to put a big old block up under that. All right. That should be all of our parts that we need. I tell you what, I&J sure didn't mean for this crate to come open during shipping. That's it's a whole lot of nails we're going to have to get off. Finally, get a project in here that doesn't take up the whole entire shop. I mean, we're farming back like it's the 1980s again, back when we have a project here, and a project back there, and be doing 3 different things here in the shop. I haven't been able to do that in like 15 years. All right, Andy, you want to work on getting that crate open? I want to start trying to get these bearings off. I don't think that's going to be an easy process. Imagine we probably going to have to melt them off. Well, I need to try and get at least one off so we know what the bearing number is. Yeah, I'd say that bearing has had enough. It ain't nothing but straight metal on metal. All right, try our 3-jaw posi puller. It doesn't really work good on a square housing. Let's hopefully a long shot. Maybe this thing will come on off. Let's try it. Holy! Now I was not expecting that.
That was a little too easy.
That was too easy.
Still got a lot color though. So.
Well, hey, at least I can get the number off the bearing. So if the rest of them don't come off easy, we can cut them off. Oh, I feel so much better now. All right, that bearing might come off super easy, but I knew we'd run into issues. Andy finally got our box unbolted. There's all the blades that's supposed to go on there, and we got a problem with the blades. The curvature's right, but our bolt holes are not lining up with the existing ones. They're off about 1 inch, and then also that, I mean, they're about the same height as our old blades, whereas I thought that these blades would be narrower, but they would stick up a little above. I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking it was supposed to be. but at best they're about flush, so that would give us a broader area to crimp, be less effective. So I don't know, like over here on the wings, the center bolt hole lines up, but these ones on each end are about an inch off. I don't know, I got to call in to I&J, waiting on somebody to call me back to see what they want to do about this, because I mean, I can use these blades, but that would involve cutting all these existing blades off and welding them back up, which I got the skill to do that, but you're talking about a tremendous amount of time to cut all of these welds and then weld it back up. So I don't know exactly what we're going to do at the moment. Have to wait and hear back from somebody. All right, at the very least, we can get one of these bearings out, and you can go get bearings ordered or pick them up if they got them in stock. And all right, looks like these are pillow block bearings, which is my favorite type of bearings. Easy to replace, no snap ring or anything. Just get them turned right in the housing. And they come right out. All right, Andy, I've finally calmed down enough. I can film this next segment. Just got off the phone a little while ago with the owner of I&J Manufacturing, the person that I ordered all of these blades from, and I explained the problem. Like the holes are not punched right. And then he's asking me about the serial number and when I bought that thing, which I bought it in 2015, and he says that, well, they had like another manufacturer making the blades and punching the holes, so the measurements are off on what they're currently manufacturing. He asked me if the length was right. I said the length was right, just the holes were punched wrong. So I was just trying to figure out, what he wanted to do about it, because, this is an I&J roller crimper. I called I&J directly to get the correct parts from them, and just want to see what he wanted to do to make it right. And then he started asking me if I had like an iron worker, somebody who could punch holes in the steel there. Like, I don't know if anybody's got a hole puncher. I mean, we've got drill presses. And he said, well, that's going to be your best option. I'm like, and I started thinking, like, I bought the parts from you. I paid y'all to get the correct parts from you. So I replied to him like, well, these parts aren't made right. Don't I need to ship them back and y'all can fix them and make it right? Like, well, you can, but that's going to cost you shipping another 2 times, back there and then back here. I was like, it doesn't work that way. I just distinctly ordered these from y'all, and I paid for the correct part. It's not my fault that you didn't send me the part made correctly. That should be your financial responsibility to take care of it. And he's like, well, we're not going to pay for the shipping. Your best bet's going to be find somebody local. And after explaining to him that that's just not right, that's not how you're supposed to treat your customers, you made the mistake, it's your responsibility to take care of that mistake, he finally agreed to cover half the cost of getting somebody local to fix these blades. So apparently they're not going to stand behind their problem. It's going to be my responsibility to take care of it. I'm sorry, I don't ever like throwing anybody under the bus, and I've had issues with other companies in the past, but they've always worked with me to correct the mistake, and I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, except when you just blatantly screw me over and you're not going to stand behind your mistake. So I&J Manufacturing makes a great roller crimper. I've got no problems with the actual machine. It's done us a good job. But their service on this has been absolutely horrendous, and I will no longer ever do business with this company again. And if y'all are raising cover crops and y'all want a crimper, I'll tell you, the I&J crimper is a good crimper. But there's also other manufacturers out there, and I'm pretty sure those manufacturers would correct a mistake they made on getting you the wrong parts. Just my opinion. Just my advice. Y'all take it for whatever it's worth, but I'm beyond. I could chew up every single one of these steel plates right now and spit out nails. I am so freaking pissed off. So I paid around $3,000, I think, for those blades. I think the shipping was probably $500, $600, $700. So I'm not about to spend that much money to ship them back so they can repunch the holes. Not gonna happen. Anyway, me getting all pissed off is not going to solve the problem, so now I got to figure out exactly what we're going to do. I got some ideas. We're going to try out something, and then I'll bring you back once I get a definitive plan figured up.
Hello.
Hey, Bo, how's it going?
Man, let's go and eat too much Mexican.
All right. We're working on our roller crimper. You remember that crimper of Adams that he had over there?
Yeah, frozen busted.
Yeah, well, I'm replacing the chevron blades on mine, and the blades that I ordered from the manufacturer, the holes are punched incorrectly. They're 1/2 inch holes punched through 3/8 inch steel. Do you have a method for punching holes, or is everything going to be on a drill press?
Drill press.
Okay.
I don't have any dies. We wore the dies out, and I never did buy any more because we don't really do it that often, so I wasn't going to spend that money.
Gotcha.
Boring them in the milling machine. What's the material? If they're punching it, it ain't too hard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it's just regular old mild steel, but it's 3/8 inch thick, and I've got about 200 holes that need to be drilled. I mean, I've got I got a shop drill press here, but nothing like what you got. What do you reckon y'all would?
How big are your parts?
Longest blade's about 5 feet. The shortest ones are about 3 feet.
3/8 mile steel in the round holes.
Yep.
How many parts is it individually?
It's going to be 60 parts, 60 individual parts. Some of them have 3 holes, some of them have 4 holes.
And how do we know where to put the holes?
Well, I'm gonna get one blade mocked up and holes drilled in the correct places to where they'll bolt up to my existing blades, and I can get that to you as a template.
I mean, I'd have to see how we're going to set it up, Matt, and then how much time it's going to be per, moving it and boring it, moving it and boring it. But I mean, hour-wise, we're $100 an hour, so you can get a whole lot of holes for in a day's time. Gotcha. I don't think you're going to get you're not going to get 200 holes in a day's time through 3/8. If it's regular A36 steel, I'm going to say it's just you might get 100 a day. So you might be looking at a little over 2 days, something like that.
You'd be looking around 1,600 to get those holes drilled.
Yeah, with me not having one here in my face where I can see how we're going to get it in there, they're just flat pieces of metal, right?
Well, I mean they're curved. They're curved. I mean they're not completely flat because they got to go around the drum.
Right. That's going to be my issue. We're going to have to clamp them a specific way every hole, and it's going to slow us down. It's 1/2 inch hole, 200 holes, and 3/8 curved material. Let's just say 2250. Is that too much?
Well, I mean, these blades only cost me about $3,000 total. I mean, that's way more than what I can afford. I mean, if it's going to be that, I know you got to charge what you got to charge, but I mean, I'll probably try. I'll just probably take the time to drill them myself. I was just hoping you had like a lot quicker way than I would on getting it done.
The only quicker way is going to be is still got to do it with the drill press, and then I mean I'm out to help any way I can. Where you need to be on it, because you're looking at if it's all labor and say you buy me the drill bits, if I need more than one, and I'll go to an hour for you and do that. Let's just go times 16. That puts you at 12. I'd say $1,400.
Got you. All right.
That helps a little, but I mean it ain't. I mean right there, I'm paying Jeff, and then I'm paying for the electricity and.
I understand. I understand.
I know 930 holes that's wrong on your parts when they come in. It screws everything up.
Yeah.
Is there no way to cut them and shift them and move a piece off one end down to the other end to line your holes up?
No.
Off on the long side.
The center hole is correct. It's the ones on each end that are off about an inch or so.
Well, think on that, and you let me know. And like I said, I'll be glad to help you there, because I can do 16 hours for that, and I think we can make a headway. And if anything, we'll do some of them, you do some of them, whatever it does take to get it done.
Got you. Well, I've at least got to make you a few for a template, so I'll see how long it takes me and go from there.
All right, buddy.
All right. Thanks. Bye. Ooh. Boy, thanks, I and J. Y'all have really effed me on this. I tell you, if I'd known all this on the get-go, I tell you what I would have done. I would have gone gotten a lot of grinding wheels, and we just gone down and just ground each of them down to where you got a nice square edge. It would have been a heck of a lot cheaper. And right now, it probably would have been faster.
Yeah, it's a lot less work than what we're looking at right now, which is a lot of work.
And it might be faster now, but that leaves me with $3,000 worth of blades I can't do nothing with. Danged if you do, danged if you don't.